In this video we are going to build a machine learning recommendation engine completely in the browser using JavaScript. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the problem we are going to solve is I want you to suggest to me good color themes for my text editor for me, and as you can see I've got it going here and it's choosing some pretty nice themes. If you've ever followed my videos before, you can see that these look a lot like the themes that I choose to use day in and day out, so it is definitely working, and it works completely based on my ratings of randomly generated themes, which oftentimes are ugly themes like this one. Yuck, that's gross. But as I vote, the neural network gets better and better and starts recommending better and better themes. I have about 30 or 40 votes under my belt right here, and it's really good. So let's kind of walk you through what you have to do to make a recommendation engine. It's pretty similar to what we did in the last step. We are going to start by making a new network, and I'll just kind of plunk out some code here, and then we'll walk through the actual code that I've built. So we'll make a new network and then we are going to train it with our data, and the data is the color schemes that we have voted on and our voting response. So it'll look something like this. So we have an array of training data, and each piece of training data will look like this. It'll be an input and an output. So the input is going to have 12 dimensions to it. This time 12 inputs. The input values are sometimes called input neurons in machine learning, or sometimes they're called input dimensions. So we are going to have 12 neurons. We are going to have the RGB of our background color and then the RGB of our three colors. With our color scheme, you can see we basically have four colors: background color 1, color 2 and color 3. So we are basically going to just do an array to keep it simple instead of doing a named object values. So we are basically gonna have RGB of backgrounds. I'll just use all zeros for now: color 1, color 2 and color 3. So that's what our input is going to look like. These are going to be an RGB value between 0 and 50, and these are gonna be an RGB value between 50 and 255. So I'm kind of giving it an initial parameter of we are doing a dark background in light text, and then the output is going to be a score. It's going to be what you clicked on with your stars, which is going to be basically a score between 0 and 1. So you're going to rate, does this color scheme get a 0 or a 1 or somewhere in between for me? So we are going to build up that training data, and then we have a trained network, which is also called a model. So once that network is trained, we are going to generate 100,000 different possible color schemes, which may sound like a lot, but there's actually 10 septillion possible color schemes with the 4 colors we have. So 100,000 is actually not very big of a sampling, and again it's going to be completely random. We are going to generate 100,000 of them, and then we are going to do net.run, and we are going to do each scheme at a time. So we are going to run, I will do a for loop, and then we'll run that scheme or theme, and we are going to get the results. We are going to sort them all by results, and we are going to give you the top 20 results. So that's basically how you're going to make the recommendation engine. We are going to train a model. We are going to run a bunch of values through that model, and we are going to pick the highest scoring values and return them to you. You can see here we have the highest scoring values, and let's go and get into the code. I'm going to show you how it works. We'll give you the code at the end of the video, and you can have fun and play around with it. So we've made this fake editor wrapper here, and I basically copied some text, some code, and then I wrapped the different portions in spans. They're going to get color 1, color 2 or color 3. Class color 1, class color 2, class color 3. So this is just a fake editor here with text, and so when we generate random colors, we are just going to find everything color 1, give it color 1, find everything with class color 2 and color 3. So on here's our stars, and then here's the themes ID that we are going to pop all our themes into a little bit of CSS, not too much, just to kind of make this page a little more beautiful for you. And then we are on to our theme generator code. So we are going to do here is we start by just kind of grabbing all of those selectors on the page. We initialize the training data in local storage here, so that way if I refresh this page I still have all my training data. So we started off by being an empty array unless it already exists, and then we create this current colors object and we generate random colors into it. So this object right here represents the colors of the scheme or the theme that you're voting on. Right now we have a background color, and we have 1 to 3 color options. You can see that when we generate random colors we get some ugly stuff. I mean, there's some bad color combinations out there if you're just doing it randomly. So we generate a random theme which populates it here, and then we predict theme combinations. So basically all we do at this point is we listen to the stars, and as you click on a star we are going to turn that into a score. So if you click on star number 4, index 4, which is number 5, because They go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you click on 4, that gets divided by 4 and turns into a 1. So these are going to be a score value of 0 to 1. If you remember from the last video, everything needs to be a value of 0 to 5. And here's what our training data looks like. We are basically going to have an input array of the RGB values. We've gone from having an input array of 3 values to an input array of 12 values RGB for our background, RGB for color 1, 2 and 3. In machine learning, these are oftentimes called neurons, input neurons or input dimensions. So we have 12 input neurons, 12 input dimensions, and we only have one output dimension, and that is our score. So when you click on a star, we take the current dimensions from here for our input dimensions, and we take the star value that you just clicked on, and that's our output dimension. So there we have it. We have our 12 input dimensions. Whenever you click on a star, this save training data runs. We save our 12 input dimensions and a 1 output dimension onto local storage, and now we can go on to predict theme combinations. So basically we create a new neural network here every time you click. So we are going to make a new neural network. We are going to train it with the data that we got off of local storage, and then we are going to generate, in this case we have 10 0 0 0 combinations here. Let's change that to 1 0 0 0 0 0. So we are going to create 100,000 random themes, which is just a sampling of the possible themes out there. Again, there's about 10 septillion possible themes out there with what we are doing here. So we are going to take those colors and create our own input dimensions. Again, we are going to run them through the network and get that score out of the output dimensions, and then we are going to push those results all onto a results array. We are going to sort them by score, and then we are going to take the top 20 and add a new theme. This is our add a new theme function here, which just basically templates it out, takes those colors and spits it out onto the page for you along with the score and the RGB values that it's using. That's it. So it took me about an hour to do. Most of the time I was spending figuring out the HTML, the CSS and some of these helper methods here, like generate a random RGB value and generate a random background RGB value. Also a helpful note here is the background is always going to be a number between 0 and 50 because I want dark backgrounds. So that is one constraint that I put on the system, and then the foreground colors are all going to be between 50 and 255 because I don't want black text on black background, so I did kind of give it a heads up, a leg up. On the game we are doing dark background themes here, but as you vote, these recommendations just keep getting better and better for you, and it's actually kind of surprising how, if you just give it 10 negative votes, because sometimes it takes 15 to 20 times for you to actually get a pretty random color combination. But it was interesting to see that just by negatively voting, the network started predicting some decent themes for me after 5 or 10 clicks. So there you go, the code's in the description. Go ahead, tinker around with it, have fun with it, and that's how you make a basic prediction recommendation engine completely in the browser using JavaScript.